Why would God save Trump but not a firefighter? Why would God choose a man who cheated on his third trophy wife while she was pregnant with an overpriced hooker, by the way, but somehow let a devoted father and former firefighter get killed instead? Please, think about that the next time people continue saying things like this.
I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
Sorry, but our species needs to get over this reflexive but lazy way of thinking whenever we experience things beyond our comprehension. Crazier near-death experiences have happened before. Granted, Trump's was one hell of a close call. But for those who genuinely believe God saved Trump but let a firefighter die instead, they are failing to consider what would have been an even more impressive miracle if God just jammed up the shooter's gun. That way, no one would have gotten shot and much less killed. Yet I'm glad Trump survived, and I'm glad to see he pumped his fist in the air and said, "Fight, fight, fight." That was the literal embodiment of a fearless leader. Granted, Trump will never miss the opportunity for a photo op, and it's hard to tell if his narcissistic impulses just kicked in because he heard a camera clicking away. But whatever. The point is, he seems to embody what our nation currently needs in a leader: strength, determination, and the basic capacity to complete a coherent sentence when asked a question in a presidential debate. It's amazing. There are over 330 million Americans, and this is it. These are our only two options for president. That's how we know there is no God who would save Trump instead of a loving father who died while protecting his family. Fortunately, not everybody believes that either. There are more than enough people who have managed to evolve past our faulty religious reflexes that can cause people to make very, very poor decisions in life. Yet there are people who should know better, namely very successful, well-informed journalists who make millions a year informing the public about issues that affect our lives whether we like it or not. And they usually make sure that what they say is thoroughly researched and fact-checked by entire teams of people. And not just because they don't want to get sued for libel, slander, or defamation, but simply because they can't afford to look stupid. People like Ben Shapiro, who prides himself with the saying, "Facts don't care about your feelings." He makes sure to have it plastered right on his laptop as he utters a conclusion as delusional and childlike as this.
Yesterday marked one of the darkest incidents in modern American history, one of the darkest moments of my lifetime, when President Donald Trump was the victim of an assassination attempt. And only thanks to the absolute grace of God is Donald Trump still alive. I found about this on Shabbat.
By the way, I follow Ben Shapiro for certain issues that are worth tuning into his show, particularly regarding the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the inexcusable horrors committed by terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, not just on Israelis, but on their own people. I'm also a big fan of Megyn Kelly. She is as informative as she is quick with her wit when she interviews experts on issues I want to learn more about. But it's hard to say I tune in for any philosophical insights when she concludes things like these.
It's truly unbelievable. And yet the former president survived, perhaps only thanks to God, who I believe must have been protecting him that day. There's no other logical explanation. Not for nothing, but he was shot at 6:11 p.m. A couple people have sent this to me. 6:11 p.m. If you read Ephesians 6:11 in the Bible, it reads as follows in part: "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." 6:11, he was shot, and that's 6:11. Listen to that. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. I'm almost emotional reading it. It's just what happened to him and our country this weekend is extremely grave and extremely important. And we are all so lucky it wasn't worse than it was.
There's nothing miraculous about a mentally disturbed 20-year-old with his dad's rifle, who was known to be a terrible shot, to have missed a moving target from hundreds of feet away. It's amazing he even got Trump in the ear. It's one thing to observe that in the randomness of life, yes, Some people's lives will be remembered throughout history, while countless others will be forgotten and have their names misspelled at the RNC. But it's almost journalistic malpractice to claim there is some hidden meaning after one man's life was spared due to divine intervention while another man's life wasn't. And much less that the inevitable suffering of the victim's family is part of some grand mystery where all will be revealed as we sit on a Sky Daddy's lap. Yet Megyn Kelly is brilliant at pointing out many flaws from the left side of the political spectrum that urgently need pointing out, such as the diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring of Secret Service agents that almost bungled Trump's security and seemed to have cost one bystander's life. This is where journalists like Megyn Kelly do shine by fearlessly pointing out the harm being done not simply by the left, but by many progressives and the very Biden administration who put DEI mandates over meritocratic hiring practices for jobs where people's lives are on the line. This is where her skepticism and hard-hitting questions and bringing on experts is what we need more from the media. We need people who can trust because they verify information. But why can't we get this level of scrutiny from information merchants like her when it comes to every issue? Why is it so difficult to find mainstream media personalities that are just as insistent on facts no matter if it's an issue that's considered dear to the left or to the right? Why are those of us who choose to be informed finding ourselves having to listen to both liberal and conservative outlets to get the overall picture after we figure out who's lying by omission in comparison? Just as much as there is a problem with people on the left who are so economically illiterate as to believe that communism could work if it was just tried the right way, let alone that we could reduce crime by defunding the police and even abolishing prisons, there is an equally dangerous naivety with religious conservatives who base their entire decision-making process by thinking they're seeing signs from gods instead of thinking a little harder about the way reality actually works. And this is why we end up with cults of personality like Trump, who shamelessly exploit these faulty mental reflexes from religious conservatives. Just like we get presidents like Joe Biden who are clearly unfit to serve thanks to their political party's opportunistic operatives who know how to exploit the good intentions of well-meaning liberals who are more afraid of being falsely accused of racism, sexism, or transphobia than they are concerned about the best policies to improve the lives of people they claim to care about. It's crazy how so many people can't find the right balance between knowing a time and place to be liberal and open-minded and a time and place to be conservative and realize empathy and tolerance have their limits. It's even crazier to think how people feel a need to be so tribal about it too, by choosing loyalty to their political parties over their families and friends at times. And worse yet, intentionally ignoring tried and true solutions to problems just because they're proposed by the other party instead of their own. This tribal nonsense is almost as crazy as an AR-15 bullet whizzing by Trump's ear, missing his skull by less than an inch, and believing it's God's will that a firefighter protecting his family should die instead. If I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for upcoming videos, and check out the links below for my original art and merchandise, and thanks for watching.